Elliot, have a seat. So, which side do you want to sit on? Because my left side is my good side.
That was a question.
So I'm asking if I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
That was it.
I know how that goes.
I'm asking what I'm going to tell you. It sounded sweet.
The setup was. Hey guys, Angel here. I am through the roof excited about this video, and I know you guys are like, who is this man sitting in your camera? So I wanted to come to you guys today to talk about mindset. And when I tell you who this guy is and what he does, you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, who freaking does that? So you guys know, or you don't, most of you guys know that my husband grew up as an only child. And then it's been about 2 years ago, like my husband always knew, he knew who his dad was, didn't know if he had children, something like that. So we had done, what happened? You Googled, or how did you find out?
I think I looked it up, the name, and then I found the obituary.
Okay. So I hope y'all heard that. He found the name and then found the obituary. And then I went on Facebook, like everybody does, and I went on Facebook to find few of the names that were in the obituary. So one of the names that I found was Elliot. And I emailed him on Facebook and I said, hey, would you happen to know if you had a brother that was born in 19 so-and-so? And here this black girl was sending this guy this DM like, do you have a brother? Like, and so that's how we connected. So like, as a side note, hey, Mark Zuckerberg, thanks for creating Facebook because we found a brother. Oh, and another thing, just really, really quickly. So when I was younger, and Doug and I still being married, young and silly, okay? And we would often get into fights, and I would always say to him, I'm so glad you don't have a sister, because if you had a sister, she'd have beat my tail a long time ago. Then come to find out he has a whole sister, so I'm glad things have turned around since then. But so that was how we met, you guys. So what Elliot does, this is Elliot, say hi to the people. Elliot rides bikes, you guys, and he like rides bikes longer and farther than some of us even want to drive. And when I found this out about him, I was like, how do you do this? And he's like, you get on your bike and you go. And I'm like, no. Before you get to your bike and start riding, like, what's the longest you've ever ridden?
To date, 175 miles in 9.5 hours.
I mean, say that just one more time for the people in the back.
175 miles, 9.5 hours.
That is a long time. Like, that's a long time. If I think I have to go drive somewhere for 3 hours, I'm already like, oh gosh. And that's driving and sitting. So can you give us a little bit, like, how did you get started? Like, what made you want to get on the bike and go?
I've always ridden bikes as a child. Back in 2009, the guy that I worked with worked at White's Bikes in Westminster part-time. And he was into bikes and he wanted me to come out there and buy one from him. As just, throw him some cash or whatever. And I did that. I bought a mountain bike. Rode the tires off that mountain bike for a year.
Wow.
So I figured if I'm going to do this, I'm going to buy a ride.
Recovered, like, you actually get hurt out there on the bike.
Not physically hurt, but your muscles will get to a certain point and it's called the threshold. So your muscles are only used to going so far for a certain amount of time. So the farther you go, the more you're going to hurt as far as your muscles go. And I've been on the bike before where I've gone so hard for so long that I can't sleep the next night.
Wow. From the pain.
Because once the adrenaline comes down, you feel that pain.
And now see, right there is when most of us are checking out. We're not getting back on the bike the next day. We're not doing this anymore. It's like the person that's just not real human that continues on with that. So keeping in the same line or the same vein of what does it take mentally? Like, although my audience, most of y'all probably don't ride a bike, but the mindset that it takes for somebody, for any goal that you're creating, and people, often get off track, they lose focus. Like, what does it take to mentally get on a bike day after day, and it's not just riding. So when he's riding the bike with everybody, or what is it called, like in a
club,
there's ride time when nobody else is around, right? So there's so much work that you have to do to prepare to even get to the street. So what mentally, the days you don't feel like it, what are you saying to yourself to do it?
Well, it basically comes down to how I'm going to perform on the bike if I don't do it. So if I want to set a goal for myself, I know that I have to get on the bike X amount of days, X amount of, not hours, but maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours. And if I don't do that, I know what's going to happen come, competitive ride or what have you.
Wow. So you said 90 minutes to
2 hours
a day?
Not like every other day.
Every other day. Wow, that's huge. So can you give us like 3 tips? We love tips around here. We love some tips. Like give us like 2 to 3 good tips on like if for any goal. And I believe that like what you do mentally can be applied to any goal that anybody has. So after they know what it is that they want, and then say they're faced with their peers or their family or their friends saying, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Like, how did you start riding? Like, did people say, "What, Elliot? What is wrong with you?"
Some people did, yeah. But when you're faced with those types of challenges, you almost have to subtract to move forward. So you
wait, subtract. Stay right there. Subtract meaning
taking things out of your way to get to your goal.
People, including people.
It could be your friends, could be your family. If you know that this is what you want to do, but you have these outside distractions, they're going to probably hate on you for it, but you have to subtract to move forward.
Wow. So then what? So I don't feel like doing it today.
Well,
I don't feel like it.
Then you have to weigh out in your mind the result of that decision.
Ooh, that's good.
So it's either I don't do it and this is the result, or I do it and that's the result. And you have nobody to blame but yourself for the outcome of that result.
That's really, really good. Wow. That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything that you want to like add to like another like?
For me with cycling, it's more of a release.
So do you think you have to love the thing, the goal?
Not necessarily. If it brings you relief from the day at hand. If you're stressed out about something and what you're doing takes away from that. So I'll be right, even if I'm on my bike at the house, I'm riding for an hour. My day is out of my head. Wow. And I'm in the moment. Wow. For that hour. Yep. And for me, it clears my mind and it gives me a better thought process. Because my brain's not firing all the stressors of the day. That's so good. That's so good. Thank you. The round of applause, you guys, because listen, I don't want to drive where he's getting ready to ride his bike next year. Or you just recently did. Was that the longest? Yes, most it was recent? The Maryland Endurance Challenge ride. It's a benefit ride for the homeless kids in Frederick County. Oh, awesome. And I'm going to do it again next year. Training now for next year. You guys, did you hear that? Like, we saw you, was it the weekend after? Yes. The weekend after he had just went on this ride. And then he was like, I'm training now for next year. Okay, like, think about that. What are we going to get out of it right now? Instant gratification. Yeah, how do you override that? How do you override the instant? You're training right now for something you're going to do 365 days from now. Because in that respect, there's the long-term training is for the gratification of that day, so it's forward thinking. So it's like you putting money in the bank for later. Yeah. That you know is going to be there, that you can go make a withdrawal from. That's good, y'all. That's good. All right, you guys. You guys know I love you. Make sure that you guys stay connected to me on my other favorite social media platform, Instagram. I'll post it down in the description box below. And if you guys ask enough questions and bug him enough, perhaps we can get him to start his own channel and he can go in a little deeper on the things that he does. All right, you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Take care. Cut.